Just seconds away from the big 10k, seconds away from the big 10k. Okay, live with me as we follow it live. Sorry for cameraing straight onto my video screen rather than using a video capture program, but it'll still come through. Although I do have an app for it. By the time I boot it up, we could have actually gone to 10k. I don't think we've got time. Dashboard, I don't think we've got time. It could go. It's gone! It's gone! It's gone! We've done it. Goner, G George, S Sugar. It's gone, you Barnes, you've done it.
Welcome to Cortina City, where safety is #1 priority.
Nice tidy up. Always good when you get the place all back and then the bulkhead back on the floor, to now start doing the modifications to the bulkhead. So I'll show you some things over here. These are the steering wheel mount brackets taken off the Portuguese shell bulkhead. These have a little bolt inside, spot welded inside, and that goes under the dash. I'll show you where they fit. So we've extracted these out. This one just grinding back the nibs of the spot welds, so that one's ready. Have a look. If I flip this round, whoa, we're over the mulberry bush we go. There's a bulkhead, there's a clip, and in they go like this. Now obviously we'll have to take these bolts off. They drop inside there like that. You may ask, well, how are we going to get them in, because you can't feed in from the back. Oh, you can on this one, right? We can feed that one in. We can't feed that one in though. We're stuck on that one because there's no way in, so we have to slit open this end and push it in. This, as I mentioned earlier on in part 1 of this episode 8, they have these pressings, but they're not used. So it's a bit of a strange one. They use these bolts pre-facelift and facelift. So why they kept those, I do not know. Whether they want to save money on tooling and just use that and just add a bolt to it, it's possible. Anyway, suffice to say that we need to fit these into it because there's no captive nut there, and that is what we're going to do. This one will go in, then we'll have to get a bolt and bolt it up so it draws it up, then we get some plug welds in, so we need some holes there for the plugs. Those in. We also need to alter this bracket because that's facing the wrong angle for some reason. The heater must have been different, or I thought the heater boxes were the same. So that needs the bracket. We've cut the bracket off, we've drilled the bracket off the Bramble body shell, so we're going to alter that. There's a bracket needed here where I've done the cut and shut piece. You can see that piece is off the pre-facelift shell. We had to graft that in to make this facelift bulkhead have these stampings in it, which should be on a pre-facelift. So that required that bracket being cut off, so we need to reattach it. Then these brackets here don't quite line up with the dash top, and also we're going to be missing a centre mount point for the dash itself. The dash comes in and bolts onto a centre bracket. I'll show you that later on. There's a few things, nothing major. The actual full pressing is the same. It's just those little alterations with the facelift dash that they brought in, so we just need to get this back to how it should be, and we'll use the old panel to get some reference points from. And of course this needs the dashboard top attaching to it, but until I get it blasted, I'm not going to do that, because it's a lot easier to transport around without it on. And also when I'm doing these repairs, I don't want to be denting that dash top. There's the dash top. We'll take it across to the dash top so you can see that it would fit on that front lip. Alright, now this dash top's got a damaged corner bracket. I'll zoom into it. Don't often use the zoom, but that bracket's corroded. And you can see that the area where it was, in we go again. I'll try and keep this stable for you for that. I'm aware that it'll wobble about on zoom. So there's some repair work to do there. That facing bracket, I've replaced this side, this facing bracket, because it was a bit flimsy, the one on there, so I've got a good fixing. That's for the panel to land on, the bulkhead. Obviously we're taking out the floor, we know about that. So there's all the little jobs that are happening. And here's a donor crash pad, dash pad top with its bracket for us to use, or it's that side. Okay, so I'm going to get these little pieces onto this bulkhead there. We're going to continue on the later parts of episode 8. Well, here we are with the bulkhead. Sorry, I just knocked something over then. Here we are with the bulkhead shot blasted down, and we're now converting it to pre-facelift fixtures and fittings. So I'll show you what I mean. A centre bracket there you don't get with a facelift. It's a different style. In fact, it doesn't fit here because the dash fixing is different. So you have to salvage that off your old dash and get the alignment right. I had to use an old dash front. And you'll see just in the middle of this dash there's a mount bolt right coming into the middle of the screen there. That is the centre dash mount point just over the cigarette tray. And that's got to land right there. You can take the measurements off your old dash if you want. What I did, I kept pieces of the old dash just to double check every measurement I could. I've welded that on. I couldn't get the spot welder in, so that's welded on. Then you've got to put extra tangs on. Some tangs seem to be missing. These tangs hold stuff like soundproofing felt, not actually wires on those. There's a few tangs to add. They were either snapped off on this or weren't on in the first place. Most likely snapped off, because I would have thought the soundproofing kit is the same, although because of the different brackets it may well be different. So I've got the top of the dashboard clipped on with some clamps, just so I know my relative positions of everything. These arms here, they need to be attached to the bulkhead. They're part of the dash top. They support the radio and centre console. So we need to get the spacing between them right, so your brackets and your trim, plastic trims fit. Down here, some dashes have this different, some don't. I've seen some facelift dashes with this bracket on. Some have a different bracket. And that's for the air mixing box, so you need to slot that in place, and that angle's different on pre-facelift, although I must admit I saw a facelift dash with this on it, so I don't know how that works. There could be two types of tang on the front of the plastic box. I'll show you what I mean by the box. The box is just on the vise over there. Zooming in again, and that's the air distribution box, which clips in just down there. The trickiest bit is, let's just grab this with my hand and take you around, we go, is the mount tangs for your demisting tubes. Now I've moved mine, they're now in position. You can only really do it when your dash top's in place, because you've got to get the distance right. What I've done, instead of keeping the ones off the old dash, I've just slit the facelift ones and pushed them in. Slightly moved them across, not by much, just enough so that this fits in, and it's designed to go almost touching the bulkhead. Indeed, they have a foam pad behind these to stop them rattling. And now when we line up the plastic heater box here, it should line up with that tube. Then we know we've got those right. We've got to do them on the other side as well, although there's only one bracket on this side. The other fixing's actually in the bulkhead, so I'm going to have to weld a tang on, because on the pre-facelift that is in the form of a tang there. On facelift they've included it built into that moulding, so we just need to go across that, and that'll give us both heater ducts, the centre fixing. I've done the steering column captive bolts, they're in, you saw me welding those, and I think that covers all the fixtures and fittings to convert us over, other than altering this stamped out area here for the wiring harness, because there's a couple of holes in slightly different positions, and indeed as well the accelerator cable's rotated by about 20 degrees, but I don't think that matters. I'm going to leave that because they're still the same grommet size holes. So that really concludes it. We've had some other panels shot blasted as well, so we're ready to start just fixing that up. We're going to prime the back of this when it's all welded, just so it's easy and it doesn't flash rust. We're ready with some primer as well. So moving on quick. Oh, I need to replace this bracket here because it's totally corroded. I've got one, so I need to just drill some spot welds out and get this corner bracket replaced. Then I'm going to mock it up in the car, including just putting the dash in position and making sure everything lines up. Once I'm happy with that, I'll begin assembling everything and I'll begin welding it all in. That'll be so looking cleaner, and we're going to get that into that. Be fun. Actually fits in quite nicely. Now we've seen us mocking it up there, we were quite happy. Oh, that top panel for it's just laying in the car, that's shot blasted as well. That'll need a little bit of TLC. A couple of holes have appeared since it's been soda blasted, which I thought there might be. Let's go and have a look at it before we sign off, just so you know where we left you. Lower bulkhead panel, nothing to do to that, nicely cleaned up, look. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Yes, here. Okay, so it didn't disintegrate. A couple of peppered holes appeared, we'll fix them. Other than that, it survived quite well. So we're in with this panel. Quite good. Just a few little repairs to do there on it. Then we can get that on top and get the whole lot fitted. I've one more bracket to do on the other side, part of the top mount bracket. Same as this side there, that bracket you see now, that's shiny one. And then we'll be doing stuff like taking the floor top lower bulkhead out. This in first before the dash goes in. Bit of bracing as well. That will all be happening in part 9, so we take you away now and sign off and say thank you very much. Again, YouTubers, all the comments really popular now. We're up to 8k subscribers, that's really good. If you can help us out by dropping some links into any forums that you might be on, just let's get it to 10k. Do you reckon we can do it? By the time we hit episode 9, 10k subscribers would be good. We'll have a little 10k party. And if anyone's going to the NEC in March, I hope you'll be able to thank you there personally. I'll be on the stand, Mk3 Cortina Club stand. This body shell will be there. We're taking it in on a trailer. Okay, the heater boxes are all in position. You'll see how it all works now. There's that tag. That's why you had to move that bracket, because must have been a different design on the facelift, or at least on some of them. Up we go there. And then that bracket, just slit it and then bent it round with the pliers. That lines up, and then here we just need to drill a new pilot hole. That's about it. So we got that stage is done. Moving on to something else. So that's just get all that done now before we fit it into the car, then it's easier to get to. That was the idea there. Okay, some primer on there. This is the Techno Grip stuff. It's good stuff. It'll go straight onto shot blasted metal, which is what we had. Some of it's coming off again because the car gets re-blasted anyway, but there'll be areas in it that they won't be able to get to. They need the paint on them first, just so the, you know, the clean down won't get in the nooks and crannies. So while we've got that top panel off, and I didn't want it to flash rust, it also gives us an idea of the condition as well. So don't think this is any paint job as such. It's just to hold the rust off while I'm working on this bulkhead, and also so that I know what I'm up against, if there's any imperfections in it. So that's good. Just putting that up. We've got to get that top panel sorted next. We'll do that. We'll see that there's little dents and stuff around here. That's for the body shop people to do, where we've bashed and joined. In fact, you can see the join line there. So that'll have to be skimmed. There's no rot, it's just the best we could get. That line will need little bits of filler in it to get that edge just smooth, get that corner. A few bits, nothing, no big deal. This, as I said, needs those localised repairs. There needs end caps, and that can get painted and placed in position. We use this bulkhead closing plate to make sure the holes line up and that this goes in the right place. There'd be nothing worse than if you set this down and it wasn't in line with the holes. So that gives us reference points. It will have to go on in two halves. We won't get the dash attached as one piece because the brackets won't clear, so we're going to have to spot weld it in this position, which can still be done as long as this top panel's off, and then the top panel will be plug welded on. So that's how we'll do that, because I don't think we'll get the spot welder in when that's on. It doesn't look like it. There's not enough room. But it's all trial and error. We're all learning along the way, but going good. And all the modifications to the bulkhead are done, and all the detailing work, like the little wiring loom tangs, they're in. So we've made sure we've got all the distances right, and that one points upwards, these two go down. And on the other side, a lot of detailing on the other side. Take you around. The brackets for the steering, the altered heater ducting brackets, the centre clamp bracket clasp. Some of the primers actually missed that. I'll probably go over it again. So a lot of work went into the bulkhead. I've still got another good couple of days on it to go, but we're getting there now. We'll leave it for now. Another day tomorrow. Okay, carrying on with the top panel now. Bulkhead top panel. We've now grafted in the repair sections that were made earlier. Gone for a nice butt weld there and ground back. Cleaned it on both sides, so that makes a nice neat join. Same at this end. Bear with me while I show you. Just reinforced around that spindle for the wiper because it was looking a little bit crusty, so we laid some braze in that. I'm not sanding that down. And then our line here up at the top. So we're just going to give this a wipe down and then some primer. That panel's ready. You never get one of them panels, so you very rarely, I've never seen one, so we had to make them end pieces as you saw us hammering it out. Now they're grafted in. We can offer it up if you want. Come with me live. Point of view. Over we go. Go, go, go. In we go. Oh yeah. We're in. Sits on there like that. We're going to be using those bulkhead closing panels. Let me show you what I mean. Just over here on the bench. We need to make some room. We're running out of space. This makes sure that we get the alignment correct. Also using the heater box. I may have covered that just earlier, I can't remember, that was yesterday. But that makes sure that we sit that in the right place. But for now we just want to get it primed up. And then we can continue cleaning. So I'm quite pleased with those end repairs. They went quite good. Both sides. Just going to give this some thinners, wipe it down, get all the grease off it, and there's a lot of acid coming off from the flux from the braze, so we get that off, neutralise that first and then wipe it down. Okay, so we'll just get some baking soda, I think I'm using. It's used for the just neutralise the acid out of the flux, and then some thinners and then prime it. Okay, we are ready to start fitting the lower bulkhead. Just prime them 2 panels up there, we'll leave them for now because we've got to get lower bulkhead on first before we can fit these panels. Okay, down we go. There you go. There you go. Right, I put a little bit of paint on this, then I rubbed it back to leave some impression. So the first job with getting these lower bulkhead floor pans out, sorry I lost you then, I was looking for my pen, is to mark out your spot weld points. So we use a combination of the natural, well not the natural light, but the light in the room, the end of my thumb, look for the clues and you'll get them. I'm going to guess that one there. All about evenly spaced now. I'm starting to lose it there, can't find any. Definitely one there. Definitely one there. Possibly there. I would say that's the best clue I'm going to get, that one. And there. Those two are a guess. Looks about right spaced out, so just the marker on there. Then pilot drill them, and then in with the drill bits, and we'll take those out. Now we could just drill straight through, there's no need to wear out our spot weld hole cutter because we don't need the panel at the back. So we could just get an 8mm drill bit and just send it through to save wearing out valuable spot weld drill bits. So that'll disconnect it from the A-pillar. That's this panel we're taking out, by the way. Let's go inside the car and show you. Already on the earlier film you saw how we fitted that chassis leg, and now look, we've got the car now supported off the dolly. I've took the supporting pin out. This is my support pin which puts it onto the dolly, and it's on a jack now, and the jack is bracing across the 2 chassis legs. So the reason why that chassis leg was replaced in so we could start to get what we want and lift the car. You can see that the spot weld holes line up almost central with the rail, so that tells us the rail is the right size, and it even goes all the way up. It's welded in at the back just for now. So that whole thing out, we've got to do the other side as well, get it drilled all the way through, so quite a bit of drilling. On the transmission tunnel we will be using the hole cutter because I don't want to drill straight through the transmission tunnel. So quite a lot to drill there, let's get on and do those. Someone knocking at the door, somebody ringing the bell. Do me a favour, open the door and let 'em in. Someone knocking at the door, somebody ringing the bell. Do me a favour, open the door and let 'em in. Where's one for the Newster? Who's the Newster? He's called Little Newt, he's one of my fans. Hello Jim. Up there in there, South End, yeah. Ooh, and Tony and Disco Dave. as well. Tony's watching, Disco Dave, Angels 1-5. So, no problem, no problem, no problem. Enter, no problem. Everything good. Or as Tony Montana says in Scarface, why don't you stop around and start doing business with me, Hector? Okay, yeah. When you get the panels, then you get the power. When you get the power, then you get the car. It's ready to go, and things are nice, they're stable, we're okay, we're on the operating theatre. Stable, keep on drilling. So we just head over the transmission tunnel now, and we got to get to the other side and do the same as we did this side. Very neat. No damage. That'll plug well nicely when the new panel comes into town, which is all in the wings and waiting to go. Can you handle the suspense? Oh yeah. Look what's waiting in the wings. Yeah, please. Exciting times in YouTube land. I hope you're sat and enjoying yourself and nice and comfortable. Maybe you're on your tablet, maybe you're on your mobile phone. Maybe you've Chromecast it or Fire Sticked it to your TV screen and you're in the comfort of your living room. Let me know how you watch Cortina City. I'd like to know what you get up to. Do you watch the full film? Do you watch it in bits? Do you skip? Don't worry, either option's fine with me. Do you make an evening of it? How do you like your viewing experience, Cortina City? Can you recommend us? Can you put some links up on any forums you may be in? Can you help spread the word? Because I think the TAC channel's going good, and the bigger it gets, the more excited it is, and the fun just keeps on going. And I just like getting out in the garage and filming for you guys. It's great fun to edit, it's good fun to film, it's great fun to weld. So I'm having a good time. Now, are we at a scary point in the build, shall we say? Let's step back for a little while, a little pause in the proceedings today. Join me and step back. A couple of people asking for wider shots. It's difficult because I've got a camera, well, I'll show you exactly the type of camera I use just so that you know. Little break. Grabbing with my left hand, my backup camera. So this is what I use. It's a pistol grip type, so you go like this, the screen flips up. Can I do it with one hand? I can definitely do it with my right. And if you want to flip that, just about do it. On the hip. Just knock it on the hip then. Here we are. A bit old school now. But 720 HD, it will go higher, but I can't edit my processor. My computer's not strong enough to edit higher frames than 720/30. You can go 1080 60i if you want. But that's what I use. This is the backup one. When it's really grubby work and there's stuff coming out close up, I use this one. This is a sacrificial one. It can take the hits, and at least you're left with one working camera. Rather than sharing the load between the two, this will take the heavy loading. Second hand, I always buy them second hand. Usually pay around 40 quid. They'll last about a year on a restore, maybe 2 years. Now that may be now a false economy. But if I get a really posh new one, it's going to get wrecked and covered in dust. So you lose cameras when you're restoring cars. You're using your phone and you want to get close up, you risk getting your phone covered in stuff. And some of the particles that come off the angle grinder are magnetic as well. They stick to the speaker of your mobile phone. I've heard that. Also, the welding will destroy this lens here, what's called a CCD. If indeed this uses CCD, I think it does, capacitive charge device, I think that stands for, correct me. It will wreck that eventually, especially close up. The power, the UV rays from the welding will damage eventually the chip, the iris, or not the iris, but the actual, the part of the retina, if you will. If it was human, it'd be the retina. So that's why I don't really go to town. I'll always be on 720. These are good because I can take them with me. That goes in your pocket very neatly. You can almost forget you've got it with you, and then if you ever catch anything on the road, abandoned Cortina or something interesting at the side of the road, you've got your camera in your pocket. Charge, you get about 1 hour 1.5 hours filming out of it on the battery, as long as you use genuine Panasonic batteries, not the eBay ones that are copies, they don't last. Then you get 1.5 hour footage. You can put whatever SD card you want in it. I run them on 4 gig cards. Sometimes I have an 8 gig card. And that's it. Does still shots. There's a digital zoom. It's pretty good all round for the price at £40 second hand, maybe even less now. It's a great piece of kit, that. And you're watching this clip on an identical model. Stereo microphone built in. Nothing wrong with it. It's got us this far on YouTube anyway. And if you look at that picture, you'll see those bands flashing down there. Don't worry, that's just the fluorescent tubes. Well, you can worry because it might be doing your head in. But that's the fluorescent. That's, well, not fluorescent, the LED strip bands. Fluorescents don't do it as much. But the fluorescent, the LED lights are really good, so it's a trade-off, I'm afraid. Let's carry on then, a little interval there. So I've asked you some questions, see if you can get back to me. Spread the word. Leave your comments, subscribe if you've not, recommend us to some magazines or something like that, because I don't get any magazine coverage at all. All the projects I've done, I've been in a magazine once. That'd help. I don't know. I'm just, sometimes my brain starts thinking we should be getting more out of this. Okay, I will continue to go across. We're going to mark the other side and we're going to peel that out. We've got to be really careful at this point. We can't now step in the car. So I have to just go round and reach in. So leave me with us now, carry on. We're broken away here. Came off nice. To make life easier, by the way, if you're doing this, if you don't need the panels, this only applies if you don't need them. Break them down into bite-sized chunks. It's a lot easier to take this off, even though we hit all the spot welds there, right? There's always one that's just caught at the edge. Now you've hit the spot weld, but it's still just caught it just on the edge of the, if you look at that circle where my thumb is, it could just that. So if you slice this, then you can just rock it and snap them. This only needed one snap. Otherwise, if you didn't slice it, you can't really start moving that much. So there's no point, it's a scrap panel. If you're salvaging a panel, of course, that's not the case. You wouldn't be doing that. You'd have to really spend extra time on it. But it's scrap, so don't waste drill bits. Drill straight through with an 8mm cobalt. Don't waste time trying to get it out when you can just slice and push away, then throw it in the bin. That's useless. Okay, some tips there for you as we continue on. So we're now on, I think we're in episode 9. We're either in episode 9 or the last part of episode 8. So I don't know which bit we're in. We are now doing this job. Our panels, our bulkheads over there, we've cleaned up, by the way, so we're not treading in loads of crap. Our bulkhead in a primer. This paint, I'm going to tell you about the paint I've used. Look at this. Here's our paint thing on the wall. It's called Techno Grip by Leckler, and it's zinc based paint, and it's basically suitable for a lot of stuff. Sandblasting straight over, good stuff. Yeah, quite pleased with it. I've only put it on to stop and flash rusting. I'm not a painter, but when this gets covered, I can't guarantee the paint guy's going to get his gun, so at least it'll have coverage on it. And this is a nice paint. It's the first coat. It's actually got a lighter shade, like a Ford brown, going on next. I've asked him to mix me up a Ford brown primer style, like this style. Can't quite see it there. This has got a brown tint. I did ask him to do it, and it's come out darker. There was one pigment missing, so he said just use that up, don't waste it. He's given me this paint, so I thought I'll just use it first as a first coat, save wasting it, and then I've got the proper Ford colour coming in, which will be good. Okay, I can't wait to get these spot welds off. Leave that with me, I'm going to do that now. going. It's going. Just the last ones, and this is where cutting it in slices, as I said, helps. You wouldn't be able to do this otherwise. Saves a lot of time. I've not had to use the chisel not once for the chisel. I hate bashing spot welds with chisels. I like it to be clinical. Bashing them and smacking things with spot welds is just wrong. There you go, look at that nice clean front. Right, we've got some corrosion on the leg. We've got trouble here. Gonna have to do a repair. Flaky trouble on the inner part of the leg. It's not showing on the outside. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I can prepare it though with an infill. Let's have a look. I'll take you down, you stay on the camera. This bit of the leg's good, but we lose it there. That's tricky because that's part of the main chassis leg, which, well, it's rotted between the outer piece and the inner piece. What I would do in this instance, I'll create an infill, cut that out, create an infill, slide that in and weld that in, because this piece of chassis is in good order. Otherwise what we'd have done is we'd have chopped this chassis leg off like we did the other side, just in case, to remind you. There you go. And then we could have repaired that piece, then put this back on. But I think this leg's good. When the rest of the floor comes out, I'll have a look. But that needs repairing, so that's pretty bad, that. Disappointed with that. Yeah, it's the inner fold, because it's sort of two halves together. It's gone between the seam. I'll have to look, I'll have to have a pick away at it and see. Whoa, open air views, anybody? Oh yeah, open air views, nice. It's now out of wacky races, yeah. Okay, trial fit of that panel, just pushing it, excuse me, just pushing it into place, starting to get an idea of how it's fitting. Tomorrow I'm going to break off now, it's been a long day today. First job tomorrow to clean all the mating faces up, any raised spot welds, clean them off, then get the weld through primer on all the contact surfaces, and then make sure we've got enough tools. We're going to need some clamps to get this clamped in position, so we had to make those. I'll get those, start making preparations to get this to fit. So we're coming in, looking at pulling it across here, which it's trying to do already, so okay, we're looking alright. A little bit of a face to clean up on it there, and then we're going to pull it up back against them chassis legs. So there's a little repair to do on the chassis leg. I've looked at it, it's not that bad, just wants a little bit of metal in it. So okay, sort of landing in the right spot. Don't think there'll be a problem with that. It's not really critical alignment on this, it doesn't really do anything. I know it's got the steering aperture, but it can't go anywhere. It can only go back in the same place, and if you're worried that the shell might have moved it, this draws it all back in. But we won't go any further back than what we have. We're at the max point now, where we don't want to remove any more structure. But there's a brace across there, there's a bit of the roof left, another brace across there, just enough on the roof holding it together. So we're not bad. It's, as I said, it always looks worse down there. It is. Okay, so a good little bit of day's work today, that. We'll give it a bit quick tidy up. You saw them panels there, we'll leave you there. I'm going to go check how the running time is. Okay, see you in the morning. Clocking out for tonight. Hasta la vista, baby. Okay, another day, another load of work. Trial fitting the bulkhead, getting ready to fit lower bulkhead. But before we do any welding and the bulkhead in any position, we need to make sure that it's in the right position so that the screen rubber sits comfortably and isn't too loose or too tight. Because we have lost this reference with the whole bulkhead coming out, you could easily place the bulkhead a few mil off and not get as good a screen seal. So there's just enough structure of the car to get the screen in. You'll see from the inside just about that we're up tucked in corner to corner. What's left of the structure, luckily in that corner, coming back and trying to keep it steady, is enough untouched metal to give us a corner to corner reference. And you'll see here that it just needs to come up a little bit, and we may have lost some shape on it when it's been ground back, probably not much. What you're looking for is it to even, and as you push up the bulkhead you'll see that the rubber tries to then curl back on itself, and that's when it's going too tight. So we've just hooked it over. What's left of that roof is enough reference material, and that corner the same. Apologies if it's a bit underexposed there, it's just the way the auto white balance and auto exposure work on the camera. Round we go, and then we start to mark where we think is just a nice comfy fit, so that it's not pushing the bulkhead up too much, makes the rubber start to go like that and pull in on itself. You want it so that you come from the inside and it's just sat where I can't feel that pushing down anymore, which means it's on the lip. The corners are always going to be a little bit different. You want really the central section to be the best, although I have gone from corner to corner and tried to get a compromise. So you don't want it loose, you want it pushed right up into the glass. Push the glass up, make sure it's tight, and just make sure I can't get any more on it. And it's a little bit forgiving, because you've got the rubber itself. If you did go out a couple of mil, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it's best just to try and get it best you can. So I'll then mark up where I think it's good, which in theory lines up with the spot weld. So we'll go and have a look if it does line up with those, and you'll get your panel sort of sat where it should be. Push down to make contact, and you'll see that we come bang in on those original ones we drilled, giving me an idea that we're pretty much there. This side's a bit harder because we haven't got as much reference material on this side as we did on that side. I should really have drilled through, well, these are the spot weld imprints, but they weren't drilled straight through. I mean, these were the dimples. Incidentally, these are right on the edge on this side, so it's a little bit different this side. There could be some distortion in the panel here, so we just need to get that in the right area. It sits nicely on here, but remember I've remade this flange edge, and that could easily be slightly twisted, so the whole thing's open for interpretation in this area here. That side not so much so. So I'll pay particular attention to what effect this may have by being a few mil out. I can't really see what it's going to do. Wiring harness cables, brake master cylinder, well that's on a rod, it's not going to really make any difference I don't think, but I think it will sit where it is. This gap here is normal, that's normal and all, cause I thought I'd trimmed too much off there, but it isn't. They all have that gap. Just check the Portuguese one and it's just masticed in. There's a landing plate there which we refitted. I'm not saying that's exactly the right angle. It might be that it's more comfy bashed up a little bit. And then we could do with a scuttle really then to finish that job off. So what we'll do, we'll get some markings. Well, I've got that side done. Got some proposed markings there. I just need to push down, push up, and then you watch the rubber begin to flex in on itself. I'd like a little bit of tension, but not too much. I don't want to overdo that. So I just want to go up a little bit, and it looks like my marks that are originally set are the right ones. You can just faintly see them on the black on black, and then quite clearly two stripes on the silver metal there. So that's what I'm going to do. I haven't actually got a car to take references off, so that's the problem there. All the screens are in, unless I go and pop a screen. I'm tempted to pop a screen on the estate car, because then you can always get your corner. But what I would do, rather than just take the corners, I think I'd rather write the corners down, just take measurements in all. So let's pick 4 measuring points, left and right, and then 2 central ones. Then compare them with an untouched car. Then take all the differences and divide it, and then accept that as the closest one, because then you've got an average across the 4 measurements. You may find that the central 2 ones don't actually alter. If it skews a little bit like this, you'll gain on one and lose on the other. Not going to be much in it, you're talking millimetres, but it's nice to know that you've done your best to get it in. So if you are changing your bulkhead, before you put it in, don't forget to just check that you're happy with your screen fit. You can mastic the screens in, and indeed in the Ford book they do say from factory build that mastic's pumped into those rubbers. So if you did get a couple of mil out, you'll get away with it, and I don't think it'll affect your bonnet closing gaps or anything like that, because your scuttle sits virtually end to end on top, and that wouldn't really affect it, so you've got a chance to get all your panel alignments. If I thought the bulkhead was critical to panel alignment, then I'd start mocking up some of the other panels just to make sure, but I really don't think there's going to be a lot in this. I think we're going to be okay. So doing the bulkhead, doing the screen, and then across here we go for cleaning up the chassis legs, getting ready for the weld through primer to go on. You'll see that facing plate that I made there ready to receive the bulkhead. That, once the corner's just trimming off it, that's got a shape on that. Cleaning up the faces on the A panels, and we'll do some FE123 first on those faces and then prime those up. These ones I only rust kill inside the chassis leg, and then the weld through primer on the face again. A little patch repair to do just on that chassis leg. It's actually all right order there. It just wants a little piece of metal in it where it's bubbled on the moisture trap, but it's in good condition. Now you could get some primer in there while the leg's off, but it's so easy just to put the lance through those knockout holes here. There's not really much advantage. You're going to feed the one down and it's going to fill that up anyway with paint. But I will paint them, and then they'll be getting painted again and wax oiled, or dinitrol I call it. So I'm nearly ready to start putting the bulkhead back on. I have to clean the transmission tunnel. Now these floor pans, I've got new floor pans ready, repair sections, and I'm going to slide them under the bulkhead piece. I'm not going to take the floor sections out now. I'm going to slot them in because it's too much structure's gone. We're on the knife edge as it is. I wouldn't worry about the structure of the car at this point because there's enough holding it, but I wouldn't take any more out, and we'll know when we start lining everything up anyway. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to pull the glass out now, just double mark that thing with some yellow pen, and then we're done for that. And I'm going to start preparing the transmission tunnel by flat wheeling off the nuggets of weld from when they were drilled, and then start treating the surfaces with the weld through primer, and indeed going across here and treating these surfaces. Some of these spot welds may or may not line up because you're coming off a left-hand drive car. I don't know if there's any slight differences. We should catch most of them. It's missing a carpet pin securing stud on this side, and there isn't even evidence of where it's fitted. That I can't understand. There should be one on either side. Indeed, if you look at Bramble's original section of metal, you see there that the carpet securing stud is in position. So we're going to have to take it out. It's a very fine detail, this, and there seems to be no way how they've actually attached that. Very odd. I can't see much evidence of how that was fitted. That dimple is not it. That dimple's to the left of it, look. So I don't know how they fixed that to the car. It doesn't seem to have any way that it would weld on. what you do is you drop your carpet over that, and a little plastic clip pushes on it and it pins the carpet. I'd like it on, so I'm going to have to do that. So one of the annoying things, it was also missing a securing tang there, which I've fitted. So a lot of preparation. That's what it's all about. You know, you just want to get racing ahead and just start getting it all back together, but preparation. You know, you've got to do the job. Do the job. Be doing the job. Got to do the job. So that's it really. I'm quite pleased and happy about how things are going. I shall now get the screen back out, put it back into stores with the appropriate markings, and then feel confident that I've done a good measurement on that. Okay. Wow, a bit of a turbo jump all of a sudden, and there's been no time difference between the last two clips apart from 10 minutes. DHL arrive. Guess what we got? This was posted out, or it was couriered out by some friends, picked up on a parts trip. Express panels, scuttles. The club ordered 10, and when I was last at Express, all 10 had gone to the club, and they were going to drop one off to me, so they've just managed to drop it off to me now, so I've not had it, got my hands on it. So I was just doing the screen, unknown to me, this was actually en route and it's just arrived. What timing is that? And I tell you what, I just came to the car and I just placed it in. Look how it landed. It just dropped straight on. That was the original scuttle end line, which is brazed. Boom, straight in. Round here, straight in. Round that area there, straight on. I mean, the work to make this, wow. It always amazes me. So, the panels, in we go there. There's a little bit of braze to take out, then that'll sit straight in. But you can see that I haven't done anything except just to physically just place it down. So that will help us with the bulkhead as well. You can see it just starts to raise up a little bit. These are never flush fit, they always have a little bit of a lip. That'll just simply push back. In fact, I've only got one hand, but you'll see, look, it just goes. Then we clamp and we can spot weld nicely on there. So that's it, I'm really made up with that. You can see that it's all going to work. And indeed it's following our lines that we've just mocked up. So we're all in the zone for our screen aperture. And we're looking very nice with a nice scuttle panel. There's a downside, and that is that it's not punched out. So you've got to find your way of getting out these recesses. Now there's two options for me. It seems a shame to do this. I can cut and shut my original middle section in so that I don't have to route out all of this. Or I can find an engineering firm to route that out. I talked to Express about it. They said you could make a stamp. The club needs to do that, I think. However, in terms of the pressings, wow. That's all I can say. So another great result that makes me very happy and helps along with the build. So I think I mustn't let that distract me because I'm dead excited about that scuttle panel from Express, but I need to carry on with my program lower down. It's easy to start getting all, I'm like a kid in a candy shop today, because it's just like I've seen like the latest Action Man climbing frame, or the Action Man Skyhawk, or the Action Man diving kit. Oh, it's out, the new Action Man diving kit's out. He actually dives and he goes down, and the radio backpack with a little record in the back, and the Action Man talks, and there's a training tower thing with a zip wire on it, and wow, yeah, wow, I'm all excited. Oh my, yeah, skull panel, wow. Here we are with our dilemma. What do we do? That's quite complex, that. It's such a great panel. You could just cut and shut the ends off and put them onto here, but then you He'd blow all that hard work they've done there, and also he wouldn't have had a nice clean spot weld edge. This one's going to get damaged when I drop out this inner piece. I don't know what to do. If I slice this, it's a lot of weld, well, it's a long continuous welds all the way round. It could go in. It shouldn't distort if I keep it because of these strong edges, so that's probably, if you cut and shut, it's going to be liable to bend, although it is laying flat. I don't know what to do. I'm thinking cut this piece out, lay it on top, draw around, and then cut and shut it in. I think that's what I'm thinking. I think that's what I'm going to do. Right, that was the end of that. Too late now. I've sliced that out straight down. Boof. And now, boom. And now we've just got to cut and shut it into there. I think that'll be better. I think it won't be too bad. Let's get on with it. Just get out of the way then. I won't be worrying about it in the middle of the night, which is what's going to happen otherwise. Boom! Let's do this. Woo! I'm a bit happier now I've cut it because I don't have to think about it anymore. Woo! Going crazy. Shouldn't be too bad. Excuse me. As long as you remember to cut on the inside of the black line, not the outside of it, because that's how it's drawn round. Just remember make sure your cut follows, and then it should drop in. I always go a little bit oversized, and now we'll just slightly keep on filing it till it exactly fits in flush. Then we'll get the tacks on there. It's a bit of a mission, but I'd be happier doing it that way. I've kept one whole panel then, instead of cutting and shutting two ends on it. You can cut and shut the ends, as I say, but I'm going to do it this way. So I'll just keep now filing until it just drops in flush, then get a magnet on it and get the tacks round. It's a bit of a mission. Okay, here we go. Scuttle alteration then for episode 9. If you want to get a good flush fit on your panels and hold it in place without having to use magnets, these 1mm butt weld clamps are quite good. In they go, little locking bar at the bottom. Slide that vertical piece just there between the panel gap, then that little bit goes underneath. If you've got indiscrepancies, you can tighten up these little thumb screws to lock it in place nice and tight, and you get that flush there. So we're going to get some tacks in it, and just going to work our way right the way down. Then we'll have to dress it all up. It's got to be done. I'm going to get right on with it. Okay, I'm just using these handy little blocks. I say it every time, I've done a lot before. Down they go, stack that on top of the other, and then to get my flush fit, I'm just getting both panels to land on them blocks, and then I'm just tapping down between the gaps. So, just going along and getting me tacks as I go. And move along a little bit. Nice and flush that now. Okay, that's the first phase done, and I can report back and say that it's very flush. Doesn't wave around anywhere, it follows the profile completely. Using them blocks, as I said, watch out, it's still hot. Just use these blocks to help me, and I started off with some of these clamps. They're called butt weld clamps, but BUT weld clamps. You have a little bar, goes through the bottom like this, and that goes through the thickness of the panel that way. So that's going through the two pieces of metal, and then you clamp it from the other side, and it keeps an even distance of 1mm for your butt welding, and also clamps the metal straight together. So they can be handy in certain circumstances. I use them to set our root off here. So everything's flush. I'll bring it right in so you can just see how close that we got it. And that's, if you cut the right side of the black marker pen, you'll not lose anything. I mean, I made one error just there, but the rest of it stayed straight. Don't keeps happening. I've got the chubby magnetic tripod on the camera and it keeps sticking to things. It just stuck to them blocks then when I was talking you through and grabbed the camera like that. The bit I don't enjoy as much, I suppose, is now infilling between all the welds and then dressing back. It's got to be done, so the quicker we get on with it the better. So now we take the weld and we'll infill there, then we'll go the other side. We'll keep alternating areas just to stop the heat from warping it. If you collect too much heat in one area, it might try and warp, although with these ridges it's quite a tough piece this, but still it's good practice just to keep away. If you did one continuous long weld all the way down there, there's a chance you could ripple that on metal this thick anyway. Okay, so I'll just step around. Here we go. Well, it's been a great week in Cortina City to hit that 10k. I'm going to take you away from the welder now and slowly fade you out as you wind down. Another episode, episode 9 this time, completed. And progress is good, as I'm sure you'll agree. Let's fade off to a blank screen and we'll leave you there. There's nothing coming up at the end of this blank screen this time, but because we're so chock full of footage, I've been that busy in that workshop I haven't gone out on the road and found you any goodies, but we'll make up for it, I promise. So we're going to leave you, and again, thanks for the subscriptions and taking us to 10k as we leave ourselves welding that scuttle up simply because we couldn't get the punch. Maybe in the future that'll happen, we will have that punch and we'll do that right. In the meantime, I'm sure that grill infill's going to work. You'll see the rest of that work coming up in episode 10, which is hot on the heels because of that much footage in the can. I've probably got enough to do up to episode 12, but I want to pace you out. So we'll leave you. I thank all the YouTube subscribers, the comments and questions, everyone on Patreon. If you've not had a look, click across to Patreon and just see what's going on. There's a lot more info on there about the project, and you can support it if you want. So over and out from me, Mk3 Cortina City, and a big thanks for making that 10k a special moment in the history of the channel. And we hope to keep on bringing you good films. I'm glad you like everything that I do. I'll catch you very soon in episode 10. Over and out, and good evening from me, Mk3. Over and out.
Hello my friends and welcome to Cortina City, where safety... Shit. Hello my friends and welcome to Cortina City, where safety is #1 priority. Where safety is #1 priority. Boom. 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 Very safe. Welcome to Cortina City. Damn. Welcome to Cortina City, where safety is #1 priority.